Working in Seattle versus working in Tokyo. I've worked in both cities. I worked in Seattle. It's a lot of different jobs, but mostly I worked at Todd Pacific Shipyards for 17 years of my life, which became Vigor, which is kind of a different story that I don't want to get into. But basically, I had a good paying union job for years. I made good money. It had a low turnover. I worked with the same people that I worked with off and on for years. They all knew each other for years, and they were all friends and family and relatives and everything. And it was pretty darn cool. And everybody knew everybody, low turnover. You knew, like I worked in dangerous work as an engineer, and doing dangerous, life-threatening, one of the most dangerous jobs, but you knew what everybody was capable of doing, who was stoned, who was on what drugs and when. You knew basically everybody's mental state, so you knew what to watch out for as far as work hazards in the workplace in regards to people. Here we are by Harborview Hospital. I spent 2 months in here, and I didn't know who I was for probably the 2 months, maybe more. I'm still trying to figure that out. That's another story. They land the helicopters right here on the helipads. Those are the critical emergencies. They fly them in right here. This is an excellent hospital for trauma and all that. They have an okay, actually the food's pretty good. If you go in there, they got some pretty good salads and pretty good food. But anyways, I used to live in one of these buildings over here before I went to Japan. Basically, I worked the same job for 17 years. I had a really good high-paying union job, and rents were a lot lower than I could get an apartment for like $400 a month. So I had a good job, a good wage. I could save money in the bank. I had... we're gonna get into the... See how nice it is? I could have ran over, but I didn't, partly because we're in public and partly because I just don't do that to people. But anyways, so I'm in Seattle by the rain mostly. You see the ground's wet. None of these buildings matter anything. It's the rain on the ground. So I had my good union job, then I worked another good union job. And basically what happened was I was adopted, and I was raised by these crazy drug addict parents, psychopathic shrink father. I mean, that's why I got into it. He had me doped up on drugs since I was a little kid and stuff. They were too cheap to pay for me to go to college. Isn't that crappy? They dope you up on drugs, get you addicted to drugs, then they won't pay for your schooling. So I had no choice. I was smart enough. I was smarter than him to realize that I had to get a good, dangerous, high-paying blue-collar job, and that's what I did for work in Seattle for the most part. I've been union and I've done union work. And anyways, I've been union, done good union work and everything. I don't know if this is a cop or what. Looks like he's wannabe cop. This guy's got a stop sign here. Are we stopping? Yeah. Yeah, we're stopping. So anyways, that's a flagger. She controls traffic. That's her job. I wait here. Okay, she waves me. It's go ahead and go. I can go now. Yeah, there's tons of work here. The economy's really good. So basically, if you're in that category, which I got myself into, you're in that category, you, like I did, I got the good paying union job and stuff because I didn't go through college. I made more than most nurses. I still make more than most nurses that go through 6 years of school. So I pulled it out pretty well. But they're not going to hire me back anymore. The former Todds has turned Vigor. They're playing games with me. See, the union used to dispatch you directly to the job. So the union hall would call me up and they'd say, yeah, we got a call for this. It's either a 10-day call or a permanent call, like a month or more. And will you accept it or not? The union hall would call me up and offer me the job. What happened is basically Vigor has taken over Boilermakers 104. And so Boilermakers 104 no longer dispatches for their work. So what I've been getting is this. I have an incomplete application. Journey level rigger. So I work the most dangerous job in this country, one of the most dangerous jobs in the world, doing heavy construction, heavy rigging, which means basically on the Polar Star, the Polar Sea, aircraft carriers and other ships, I would pull the shafts out, the propellers, things that weighed a lot of freaking weight, that when you drop a shaft or whatever, it goes through the dry dock, it goes to the bottom of the ocean. When you have an accident, there's a lot of property damage and deaths and everything. I did successfully for 17 years, a very dangerous, hardcore construction job. And then I get a message like that they don't want to freaking hire me. And they don't want to hire me through the union hall. So that speaks for the union right now. And I'm kind of pissed off because it doesn't make sense. I mean, Boilermakers 104 had records of me working for Todd's, PSNS, and a shipyard up in Everett and other shipyards. They had physical records of me working for those companies. And then they just disregard all that information. And so this company that was former Todds, it's now Vigor, won't give me a job, and they're playing games with me. And the union's saying that they can't hire me directly, that the company's got to direct me. And I got 17 years of freaking experience with no major accidents. I mean, I probably have grounds to sue the union and the employer. But like I said, I worked in highway construction, so I can do highway construction, I can do acting. I mean, during my years at Todds, I made sure that I had a developed skill set, and also I did longshore. I had a developed skill set so that I could get into something else. So that's the difference there. So basically, that's work in Seattle right now. Is what's happened to me is I've been kicked out of my job, and I probably can't go back. I probably can't finish off my union pension, which I wanted to do. They have a huge billions and billions of dollars pension, one of the biggest, and the Boilermakers do, and I can't go back and build that up and get out early. I used to be able to get out at 55, full retirement. Now they pushed it up to 60 something, and so now I won't be able to draw that till 65, and they might even change that. So I'm probably out of that game. I'll just have to move on to something else. Okay, so now like I come back to the US, and all those years I worked a hard, dangerous job. I was exposed to chemicals. I suffered physical injuries myself. I breathed toxic chemicals. I've known workers that were friends that have died, that have been exposed to different chemicals at the same company. And I've known them, and they were my friends, and they're dead. And I was exposed to all that stuff, and I had cancer, and that's why I left this country and basically gave up that job, was because I wanted to live. And the chemotherapy, they wouldn't pay enough for my chemotherapy in this country. So that's the difference. In this country, when you lose your job, you get no medical. And if you're making too much money, you get no medical at all. But they'll let these foreigners from other countries that haven't paid a damn dime into our tax section, let them have housing and everything they need, and cars and education. And then I support the system for 17 years, more than that. But I mean, you know, that one particular company, and they won't give me medical insurance, health insurance, or any of that stuff, or any type of compensation. No medical insurance, no health insurance. And the health insurance company is in this country is horrible. It's all owned by the corporations. It is extremely horrible, and it won't get better. No politician's going to change that. Both of them are just as evil in regards to medicine and medical, and it's never going to improve. It's never going to improve in this country. So if you want good medical, like me, you have to move out of this country. So I will move out. I mean, when I retire, hands down, I'm a national in Japan. I can go back to Japan and I can pay $50 a month and I can get full dental coverage. I can get full medical coverage for everything I need. I got my chemotherapy done in Japan, or I wouldn't be alive making this angry, stupid video right now about Seattle work. I wouldn't be making this video, and I would not be alive right now unless I would have returned to Japan after Harborview to address all my physical problems and stuff. I would not be alive. And that also, I had a good wife at the time that helped me get through all that stuff too, so she deserves credit as well. But basically, the medical system is so screwed up, and everybody's so brainwashed by the corporate media. Basically, the medical system is all owned by the corporations. It's never going to improve, never going to get any better. So I'm so glad that I'm a Japanese national and I can return to Japan and I can get good, full medical coverage. I came here to make more money because the job I was doing in Japan started paying less money because of the Fukushima Daiichi earthquake nuclear disaster, which is another story that I was involved in. I mean, I was there, and I guess I'm involved in this story. So basically, oh, here we go, another joke thing. How many people on this? How many people do you see? That's our tax dollars at work. We block up 4 lanes of traffic, 4 good solid lanes of traffic for a joke. What a fucking joke. That's our transportation system. That's tax dollars at work, just like our medical system. How many people on that? Hardly any. And they're blocking up all these lanes of traffic. All they had to do was take those train tracks, elevate them up that much in the sky, take it 50 feet off the ground, and open all of this road up, and they would have a freaking, what they have already, going to the Seattle Center. Monorail. Or dual rail, or whatever you want to call it, some type of rail. But anyway, so, yeah, so working in America, I really regret it. I wanted to leave this country a lot earlier, but since I was not an abortion, I decided not to abort my child, so I had a wife with a woman. I mean, I had a son that has an IQ in the high 190s that I had, rather than choosing to have an abortion. She gave me that option. I don't know why. I was having a Christian moment or something, or whatever moment. I didn't want to take another life, you know, because we screwed up and she got pregnant. Actually, she deliberately got pregnant on purpose because she wanted my sperm, and that's a different story. But anyways, so it's, and I would not raise a child in this country. Japan is way safer for raising your children. The medical's way better, and you don't have to worry about all the gun deaths. There's more gun deaths and car accidents now in the United States. So it's just horrible. It's a horrible, barbaric country, is what my friend says. And he used to play with a famous, very famous movie star. He lives over in Tokyo. And he used to actually, he was in a band with very famous, one of the most richest famous movie stars right now. And he was in his same band. And he just said, Kenneth says that this is just a total barbaric country and he would never live here again. And when I come back here, I kind of wonder, God, you know, was it a mistake coming back here? Maybe I should have just stayed there, and I'm pondering that idea. So I might head back. So that's the difference between work. Oh yeah. So anyways, so work in Japan, I was able to work full time and everything, and I got to 99% of my jobs was by the subway, and then 10% or like 5% was production buses that took me to locations of studios that were like at the base of mountains or on mountains or somewhere that wasn't accessible by the subway. So the transportation system was much more efficient. The medical system was much more efficient. And I can still get medicine in that country. I can't here. And I spent all that money and time and risked my life and worked my ass off for years in the States. And that's how I get rewarded, is no medical. So you want me to respect your country?